I'll say it again for the 30th time. Fuck what they told you, because they didn't tell you this. If you've made it this far in the series, then you'll know by now that I am a Tartarianist. Over the course of this series, I've been sharing with you the results of my obsession. I'm on a personal journey of sorts as I ever search for evidence that can prove the existence of the Tartarian Empire. I've visited many of these buildings here in Wales. When I'm there in person, I stand in awe. From there, I've delved into the buildings of our past all over the world, questioning the mainstream rhetoric of their construction. I'm convinced that we had nothing to do with their construction. I believe that honor goes to the lost civilization of the Tartarian Empire. And so I've asked, who were the Tartarians? Who were these people? And I keep uncovering and uncovering more to satisfy my thirst for knowledge. And I'm so fucking thirsty. When I came across this image of the monster of the Tartarian Valley, I started looking farther and seeing that apparently there was quite a few different races of people who coexisted way back in these days. Yeah, I just said that very casually because if you made it to episode 30 in this series, then you've got to expect the unbelievable. So once again, for one of my videos, you're going to have to suspend your disbelief for a little while. Okay, I'm searching, and as I'm searching, I'm finding all of these different types of people. Mythological as they may seem, I can't help but think that they're rooted in some sort of truth. As I said before, as far as I'm concerned, everything that we've learned in the mainstream is nothing but a lie, especially the things that were omitted, while most of these creatures have just vanished in thin air. One of them, the Sasquatch we still think about now, Bigfoot. But where did all of these others come from, and how come we've never heard of them before? They were discussed in many different civilizations across the world, had different stories of these people. Mythology doesn't tend to be cross-continental, meaning it's rare you'll have one story, one part of the world, be the same story as another part of the world when it comes to describing a people, but they share the same stories about these creatures. For example, this one was well known as Dick Neck Beak Face. When some of them got hungry, they just grabbed a leg, had a little bite, which was pretty easy to do when you're just carrying body parts around to eat. You had these fucking nymphs, and they like to surf deers. Some just enjoyed stroking their chins by the moonlight. Some had eyeballs in their shoulders. And then you have the Blemii, also known as the headless ones. What I find most interesting about the Blemii is you'll find stories about them from different parts of the world. Yes, they had their faces in their chest. If you look at this old art piece of a giant, and then there's these guys with just like one leg and a foot, and they're always staring at their foot, but you'll find the Blemii again. Again, they exist in different art pieces across the world. There goes another Blemii. But then you have the Cynocephalese, the dog-headed people. These widely attested mythical creatures with human bodies and dog heads were known in mythology and legend in many parts of the world, including ancient Egypt, India, Greece, China, the medieval East, and Europe. They were reportedly encountered in the Middle East by Alexander the Great himself, who wrote about them to his tutor, Aristotle. They were also encountered and battled by the Argonauts in their journey. They were described as inhabiting caves within the Indian mountains, as far as the river Indus. Roman authors placed them in northern Africa. They appeared in the stories of King Arthur of Great Britain. The Greeks regarded them as a noble people. There was a clear link between them and Christianity. With the patron saint of traveling, Saint Christopher, he was reported to be of enormous size, with the head of a dog instead of a man. In the Christian tale, Saint Christopher was originally a giant cynocephalic stock named Reprobos, whose only form of communication was through barking. After being challenged to display his power, God granted Reprobos human speech. The tale states that he was devoted to Christ after carrying him across the river. But by now you might be asking, what does all this have to do with you being a Tartarianist? Well, truth be told, it's not much, but it's interesting what you uncover in the search for truth. I just hope that you've enjoyed joining me on this exploration of our hidden past.